Hey everybody, my family and I proposed a challenge this past October, and that was to play a spooky game for every day of the month. So we made a list of all of our spooky games. There was about 80 on this list. Some were significantly less spooky than others, and yeah, we played 31 spooky games this past October. So you're asking, why am I putting this out now? Spooky season is over. But the thing is, for me, spooky season lasts October through September of the following year. So we're all good. So I'm going to go through all 31 games that we played, rapid review style, tell you what I think about them. And maybe there'll be some good suggestions for whenever you happen to watch this video, next year or years to come. Who knows? So let's get started. Okay. On the 1st of October, we played Boop. Is that how you pronounce that? It is a 2-player abstract game about cats jumping on the bed and then trying to knock each other off the bed. And then after they knock each other off the bed, they turn in from kittens to cats. Anyway, there's a theme. So it's an abstract game that has a theme, even though it doesn't necessarily make sense. But this is a fantastic 2-player game. I would give this game an 8. On October 2nd, we played another 2-player game called Terrible Monster. This is a kind of a 2-player, I like to think of it as like a love letter type game where you draw a card, play a card. But there's actually a little bit more to it because you have health and you have like creatures that you put out in front of yourself, and then you're kind of like attacking. You're trying to attack the other player, but sometimes those other creatures can block it, and then there's some there's like some countering where you can counter cards and then you can counter the other person's counter, but you only have so many counter tokens. I think this is a really kind of fun, casual type game, and I rank that as 7. This is one we've played for a number of years, and we've had it in our collection. On the 3rd of October, we played, this was a new one to us. It was La Familia Hort. This is kind of a undead farming type game. This was the only time we played it. We had a good time with it, but again, we played this at 2 players. I'm giving this a 6.5. I have a feeling that maybe playing it with more players might be a little better, but it was fun, and I look forward to future plays. But for now, I'm ranking a little bit low because maybe 2 wasn't the ideal way to play it. So again, like I said, I'm looking forward to playing this in the future. That's La Familia Hort with a 6.5. On the 4th of October, we played a game called Skulls of Sedlick. This is a 2-player button shy game that comes in one of those little wallets where there's basically like 18 cards or whatever. And you're drafting cards to arrange skulls in like a pyramid type pattern to score them. Like certain skulls score when they're adjacent to certain things, and there's different levels of like the pyramid that different skulls score on. It's a fun little game. We have a good time with that one. I would rate that a 7.5. On the 5th of October, we played the Texas Chainsaw Massacre board game. So there's a thing about this game. It's actually, there's a way to kind of break the game. And unfortunately, we kind of were doing that a little bit. However, I still rate this game highly. It's based on the movie, and it's kind of a push your luck bag builder game. But the thing with the game is, there's not a ton of incentive to push your luck too much, because if you do that, bad things happen. Like if you've seen the movie, you're basically just trying to like it thematically. It's a really good game. In practice, it's not. I don't know. There's some issues. However, I still really enjoy this. I think the theme carries it through, and if you're willing to push your luck a little bit and not have it so that the game doesn't work properly. I know this is weird, and the score is going to be weird too. I think it's a lot of fun. So I think around Halloween as like a push your luck game, and if you're willing to play it as intended, I think it's a lot of fun. So I actually rate that an 8 based on the theme alone, because it is based on one of my favorite movies. On the 6th of October, we played Welcome to the Halloween map. Welcome to is the flippin' right, I guess, where you're just like filling in numbers on houses. The Halloween map adds like ghosts and candy, I believe. And you kind of can't do both of them to try to collect both of them for different scoring. Welcome to is one of my favorite roll and rights or flippin' rights, so I rank that a 9. And the Halloween map works really well. It's one of the easier ones. Like there's not a ton of extra added rules or complication, just a couple of extra things. So I rank Welcome to, probably I rank Welcome to a 9, and the Halloween expansion just carries right along there. On the 7th of October, we played a game called Iraq Noir. This is another roll and write game. This is the first time we had played this. It's been in the collection for a little while now. It fits spooky season because it's about spiders. So if you're afraid of spiders, but in this case though, you are playing as the spiders, trying to like web up different kind of goal cards. It looks like a city, but it's actually like a cupboard. So it's a cute and clever game, and you get little plastic spiders to kind of like move along the webs and try to create areas of webs or connect certain areas. I'm only giving this a 6. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it, and I look forward to future plays, and that number will probably go up because thematically I liked it. Practice, it was fine, didn't really do anything special, but a 6 for now. I think it'll go up in the future. On the 8th of October, we played Tooth Extraction Death Game. This is a newer game in our collection. It's kind of a set, a type of game where you're playing sets of cards, trying to not lose your teeth. You're trying to get rid of cards, and then whoever calls for like this tooth extraction has to. Then if the person, if they're the lowest person, then they're fine. But everyone else has to pull teeth out of their mouth. And there's cool little teeth like meeples, teeth pulls. I don't know what you call them. And it's kind of a fun card game with a very grim theme. So I had a really good time with this one. Just again, thematically, this one like elevates it quite a bit because it's bizarre. Like you'd never think that a game about pulling teeth out in some sort of tooth extraction death game would be fun, but it's fun, and this is my type of game. I rank that at 8. On the 9th of October, we played Evil Dead 1%. There's a subtitle, it's on the screen, you'll have to look at it. Groovy game of strategic chance. There, I think I got it. This is an odd game. It's a re-theme of another game that's just, I believe, called 1%. They just stuck the Evil Dead theme on it, which kind of doesn't make any sense. So there's 2 halves of the game. The first half of the game, you are playing liar's dice, or with cards. So you're playing it with the sets of cards in your hand, where you have to, like one-up the next person, say, I have 3 deer heads, the next person says, I have 4 chainsaws, eventually until someone calls that person out, and you play that until there's only one person remaining, and then you get some reward cards. And those reward cards have either numbers on it or like special powers. Then you roll 2 dice. And the idea is you want to roll 100 or 2 zeros on 2 10-sided dice. So it's really strange. But then if you get extra numbers as you win the rounds of Liar's Dice, then you can also roll those numbers. It's really strange. And it's obviously a lot of randomness. You want to try to hedge your bets to win as many like reward cards, so you have more options. The theme is whatever. I bought it because of the theme, because of the Evil Dead 2 theme, because I do love Evil Dead. But I rank this as 7.5 because of the randomness. I don't think it would ever go higher than that. And technically, you can actually win the game before it starts. If you're rolling for player order and you roll double zeros, then you automatically win the game, which is funny, but also strange and whatever. If that happens, you just set it up and play it again, right? Or not even have to set it up, because it is set up. Anyway, yeah, that's Evil Dead 2, 1%, and I give that a 7.5. On the 10th of October, we played a game called The Deadland. This is a game by the same designer as Aqua Garden and Ostia, but it's quite different than those. On this game, you are like explorers trapped on a bridge, and there's like zombies on one side, like a Cthulhu monster on the other side, and pirates down below shooting at you. and you're kind of playing cards like Old Maid style. I guess somehow this was inspired by Old Maid, where you're drawing a card from someone and then playing to move your explorer to either side of and try to be the last one standing, basically, and not get eaten by the zombies, not get eaten by the Cthulhu monster, and not have the pirates shoot at you. There's a few safe planks, but as you're playing cards, they're starting to eat away at either side and in potentially the middle. So it's a fun, tricky game, and it's a fun game to like introduce people to, because it's so bizarre. Like you've probably never played anything like this. And I ranked that at 7.5. It is fun. It's not something I'm going to play all the time, but I do have a good time with it. On the 11th of October, we played a game called Ghost Snap. This is a 2-player like hand management type game, or like where you're actually trying to manage your other player's hand without like communicating, where like the theme is you are kids who find a camera that takes pictures of ghosts. So you are trying to take pictures of these ghosts. By doing that, you have to like get the film into like one person's hand and then the camera into the other person's hand, and then you do that and then you take pictures. So then you take random picture cards. Some have ghosts on them, some don't have them. But then you also have like so it's not quite a deck building game, but every time you go through the deck, you add more anxiety to it. And if you ever have a hand of only anxiety cards, there's like you basically lose the game if that happens a couple of times. So that I think this game is a lot of fun. I think we maybe won it once because it's tricky to try to get through, but then if you're lucky, you can take enough of the right pictures, even though they're random, and then you kind of assemble them into a separate grid of cards that some show ghosts, some don't. And I give this game an 8 because I do have a good time with it, and I think it's kind of a clever design. On the 12th of October, we played Mars Attacks, the dice game. This is one of those games that's been in our collection. I think we got it clearance at Barnes & Noble many years ago. It fits the spooky theme, right? Because it's about the aliens, and you're playing as the aliens. I feel like it's based on kind of like the zombie dice or Martian dice system, but there's cards in the middle where that represent cities, and you're just basically trying to roll combinations to try to destroy those cities as the aliens. I suppose that's what's happening. It's a fine game. It's fine to play once in a while. I keep it in the collection just because it's, it doesn't bother me. I rank this a 6. It's kind of weird that like all the cards kind of have the same art on them. They definitely did not go very far on the production. It's a Steve Jackson Games. I don't know. Take that for what it is. I give Mars Attacks Dice a 6. On the 13th of October, we played Hit Z Road. This is a really fun sort of resource management game where you are. This is the game that's kind of like a game that someone assembled while on a road trip. Like they took existing game and existing game parts. At least that's like what the game looks like, which may not make any sense. But so all the cards are kind of different, and like the components seem to be assembled from different other games. But the idea is you're traveling across the country by like drafting cards, like bidding on cards to draft, and then trying to get the least worst ones, because then like zombies attack you and you have to try to defend them, and you spend your bullets to shoot them, or you can spend your gas to get away, that sort of thing. And this is a really fun game. For some reason, I looked my rating up on Board Game Geek and I give this an 8.6. Why? I'm not sure, but 8.6 it is. Hit Z Road is a lot of fun. On the 14th of October, we played a game called Toire no Kyoko-san, or Kyoko in the toilet, I think is what it. So, yeah. All right. So this is a game thematically where you are like locked into. It looks like a locker room, but I guess it's a bathroom. So inside these stalls are tons of ghosts, but also the keys to get out of the bathroom. So this game is super random. So basically you're just moving around like the bathroom, checking stalls and seeing what's in there. Sometimes it's a helpful ghost. Sometimes it's a horrible ghost. There's the Kyoko Kyoko-san is the like the evilest ghost, so she's the one who will scare you away, and if she catches you, I don't remember, too many times, then you're out of the game or you lose the game or whatever. So and then she'll start walking around in there, so you have to like hide in the stalls. I don't know. It's very bizarre, but it's a fun theme. And even though it's random, I think it kind of creates a really good thematic experience. So I am going to rate this game a 9. I know it is not rated very good on Board Game Geek because of the randomness, but I think the thematic element of this game really lifts it up, especially for me, because it's, you know, I like that sort of thing. Toilet ghosts. So yeah, Toire no Kyoko-san, a 9. On the 15th of October, we played Mr. Jack. This is it's a deduction type game where one person plays as like Jack the Ripper and the other person plays as, well, I guess trying to find Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is trying to escape the city, but you don't know which character is Jack the Ripper, so you're trying to keep it so that they can't narrow down, like the investigator person can't narrow down where you are. I like this game more in theory than I do in practice. Sometimes I find it very frustrating to try to be Mr. Jack and escape. Sometimes I feel like the odds are stacked against you, or I don't know, maybe I'm just not good at it. Maybe I need to make better decisions. We did play with the expansion for the first time, and maybe that helped a little bit because there's different powers on the different people, like the way they move or like how they can try to like, you know, stay out of view or whatever, because like when they're in the lamppost, they're seen or they're not seen. I don't know. So I do enjoy this game. I give it a 7.5. On the 16th of October, we played a game called Let's Summon Demons. This is basically a Machi Koro type clone where you're just rolling dice and then you have like cards with numbers on them, and then every time you roll those numbers, you get something. So in this case, the theme is, well, you're trying to summon demons. So you have like a group of children that you're recruiting into like your clubhouse, and then when you get so many children, you sacrifice those children and summon a demon. And the first person to summon 3 demons in most cases wins. And it's stupid. And there's a lot of like character references on the card. So there's, you know, like there's Reagan from The Exorcist is one of the children, and there's a kid that looks like Prince Adam from He-Man. I don't know. It's real goofy, but it's quick and it's fun. It's casual. A lot of times towards the end of the night, it really works. And I do like the Machi Koro or space-based type system where everyone's rolling dice. Everyone else like looks at those dice and may get something on their cards. I rank Let's Summon Demons at 8 because every time it comes out, I have a fun time, even if I'm not very, you know, rolling very good or whatever. I think it's a great, fun, silly, stupid game. On the 17th of October, we played Lovecraft Letter, which is a kind of a souped-up version of Love Letter. I guess there's like a Love Letter Deluxe that this is probably closer to. I rank this a 7. I think I prefer the simpler, smaller Love Letter games that we have in our collection. This one's fun for once in a while. But there's like a thing where like sane and madness, so if you win so many times when you're sane, you get a certain token. If you win so many times when you're insane, you get a certain token. So it's fun. It's just a little more complicated than I would care to play all the time for like a Love Letter game. So that's why I give Lovecraft Letter a 7. On the 18th of October, we played Cthulhu in the House. This is a riff on Rumble in the House, and we also have Rumble in the Dungeon, where basically you build a room with tiles, and there's all kinds of wacky characters in it. In this case, like Cthulhu characters, and you're just trying to not get knocked out first. So like you move a character or you fight a character, and by fighting, all you do is just take one out of the room. Cthulhu in the House adds portals and like a thing that can like switch the winner. I think out of all the In the House games, this is my least favorite. I like the original better, and then the dungeon one adds like a treasure chest that you can try to move out. But they are fun little like like bluffing type games because all the roles are hidden, so you don't know who your character is. We have a lot of fun with this, but I give this one a 6.5. I probably rate the other ones higher, but yeah, I'd still play it like anytime. On the 19th of October, we played Creepshow. This is a new game from this year. It's kind of a, they call it a story building game, where you're basically like, there's like villains, and they have a story that is like unfolding, and by unfolding, you're playing cards to it. Sometimes the stories don't make sense. You're trying to kind of get enough like points built up on that character to either like make decisions on certain cards that lead the story in certain directions, and then try to finalize the story so it has like a final ending. And you're basically just doing that to get points. I think this game is fun. I think it's especially fun if you turn on some spooky music and then you're like reading the cards thematically, kind of, instead of just not really worrying about the points as much, but just trying to create a funny, wacky story that, like, if you think like Creepshow or like Tales from the Crypt, that sort of thing, where like some person did something bad and then they get revenge on them or whatever at the end of the game. I think it was fun. I think I'd probably play it once a year around Halloween. So I give it a 7.5. On the 20th of October, we played The Big Book of Madness. This is a deck building game that's actually quite a bit of fun. Where you are students in a magic school who open up a book, and of course you can't close it because monsters are coming out. And the only way to defeat those monsters are to like defeat like these curses that also come with the monsters. And standard deck building game, you're like using different colored cards to destroy different colored curses. And there's usually like some bad things that happen if the curses hit. Though you could probably go a whole game and not destroy too many curses, as long as you defeat the last one, which you build your deck up and get more spells to help defeat. This month we played it on easy mode, and I think that was a mistake because it was too easy. But I feel like if you crank the difficulty up, it gets really hard. So I don't know. I think there's a balance, and unfortunately we played on easy, so it was pretty easy. I do rank this an 8 because I think it is a fun game. I just think for this month's play, it was slightly unsatisfying because it was too easy. However, the mime did come out, and during that round, you can't talk. So you can't strategize. You just kind of have to try to mind meld or point or like infer like what you need to do, because if you can't tell everyone what you have in your hand, if you can handle a certain curse or whatever, I don't know. I think when the mime comes out, that's fun. So yeah, Big Book of Madness, I give an 8. On the 21st of October, we played Betrayal at House on the Hill. This is a game that's been in our collection for a long time, and I'll tell you right now, it is broken. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes games go badly. I've been a victim of a game going badly where like I was the traitor, and I'm sure you know what this game is, right? So I was the traitor, and I had all this fun stuff I can do, and I died within 2 seconds. And I didn't get to do anything, and I was actually I was a little upset by that game. I usually don't get upset by games. So yeah, you know, a betrayal, you're building a house and you're exploring it, and then at some point a traitor happens, and you know, there's a switch, then it's a versus game or not. You never know what's gonna happen. So I think this is a fantastic thematic experience. I would only play it maybe like once or twice a year, but I rank this rather highly because of the enjoyment that we've gotten out of this over the years. I give Betrayal at House on the Hill a 9. On the 22nd of October, we played a game called Boo. This is one of the Paco games. It looks like it comes in a gum container, where there's like kind of like you build like an entrance to like a graveyard, and there's ghosts. So like one person plays the white ghost, the other person plays the black ghost. So what you're doing is you're playing ghosts, and by having ghosts face like little ghost cards, if they're facing the back or side of a ghost that it flips the card, and then which flips the color. So basically you're just trying to get more of your color represented, and it can be a tricky little puzzle to like make sure that you're flipping the right cards and not getting your cards flipped. It's a cute little game, and I think around October it's super fun to play. I rank Boo a 7. On the 23rd of October, we played a little card game called The Witching Hour. We only played it 2 players. I think maybe it excels a little bit at more player count. It's kind of a game where you're just attacking each other, but also like collecting sets of cards. I don't know. This game never really leaves a huge impression on me whenever we play it. I always kind of forget what the heck we're doing, but usually you don't want to collect too many of a card. Like the cards that have like whatever on them. And there's one really strong negative about this game, and that is that the card quality is horrendous. I don't know. It's almost like they overly linen finished them, because every time we play, it just the linen finish just flakes all over the table. Like it's ridiculous. I've never seen a card game with this poor quality. It was just shuffling them. There's just pieces of cards all over the table. It's ridiculous. Even then, beyond the production problems, I don't know how high I would rate this. I currently have it sitting at a 5.5. I'd play it every couple of years. But again, like I said, it doesn't really leave like a lasting impression. So yeah, that's Witching Hour. 5.5. On the 24th of October, we played City of the Living. This is a reprint of an older Reiner Knizia game that was, I believe, called Prosperity. Where you're kind of defending your town. Like you're drafting tiles that are like represent buildings into your little city to stop the zombies that are trying to get in. It's weird because the original version was also kind of a city building game, but it was about like managing pollution. So thematically, it is what it is. Sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense about why like you draft, guns and then it gives you more oil, I don't know, as a resource. However, I think this is a good strategic game. I don't know that 2 players is the best way to play it, which is how we played it for this month. I think with more, the better, because then the decisions get harder. Like there's less tiles, especially the ones that you really want. Somebody's probably going to take it before you. But I still have a good time with this game. But I think I preferred it at higher player counts. I give City of the Living an 8 because I do think it's a fun, strategic, like resource management type game. On the 25th of October, we played Trick and Treat. This is a new trick-taking game, and I believe this is the only, or first and only, like team-based trick-taking game I've ever played, or like partnership type, which is interesting because if you're playing 4 players, you can actually have like 3-on-1, but I don't know. We didn't play it that way. We purposely played 2-on-2, but there's kind of like a draft, like you draft your team at the beginning. I don't know. It's interesting. So it's a trick-taking game, but there's ghosts and like kids. Or not ghosts. There's candy and kids. So like the kids have like the higher numbers. There is ghosts. The candy has the lower numbers, and the ghosts are kind of in between. And the ghosts have powers on them. So so you can win tricks with kids because they're higher numbers, but the candy is the score. So it's hard to win with candy. So in a partnership type game, if someone can win the trick with a higher numbered child on the card, and then the other player can get a like higher numbered candy in there so that you win it, then your team gets points. But with the ghosts, they always go to the winner's hand. So if you only have ever ghosts in your hand, you can't play any cards because you can't lead with a ghost. And the other thing is, if the one team has all of the ghosts at the end of the game, they automatically lose. So I think this was a really clever trick-taking game. I rated this one an 8 too, and I look forward to like exploring this more. On the 26th of October, we played Don't Go In There. This is a like I don't want to say classic, but it's a standard game that we play every Halloween. It is another game that involves curses, where you're basically playing as children, like exploring a haunted house, and you like place your children onto like the room spots to try to draft these curse cards, and you want the least amount of curses as possible. And the curse cards will have ways to get rid of curse cards, but sometimes also you get ghosts, and whoever has the most ghosts at the end of the game has to like negatively score those ghosts against yourself. I guess you score the ghost against yourself positively, but the person with the lowest number of curse points is the one who wins. I think this game is fantastic. It's a lot of fun to play. There's a ton of different like curse cards. You only play with so many each time. The box is a dice tower. There's like these glow-in-the-dark dice. Production is fantastic. I have a great time with this game. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes you get like you have to really get ghosts to try to get the cards you want. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time with that. I also rate Don't Go In There an 8. On the 27th of October, we played Halloween. This is sort of a re-implementation of Spectre Ops, but not quite. Spectre Ops never really worked for me because I felt there was a lot of randomness in like the attacking, where like, because you're usually in Spectre Ops, you are basically like hunters trying to catch like someone, but then they have to shoot them, and then you miss with the dice, and it was real frustrating. In Halloween, it kind of flips that so that Michael Myers is the one who's trying to kill the other people. And there's an interesting line of sight thing like in Spectre Ops, where if you're facing a certain direction, you can see in that direction. But if he's directly behind you, you cannot see him. And that makes for some fun, like tension-filled moments where like, I think he's this direction, but he went around the back of the house and now he's directly behind you and he's stabbing you. The victims have to try to find like the kids that they're babysitting and like the keys to the car, get in that car, take off out of town. This is a great game, really fun to play around this time of year. And again, tied in with the Halloween movie, if I didn't mention that. And yeah, I have a super fun time with this one. I'll play this one anytime. I give that an 8. On the 28th of October, we played a game called Haunt the House. This is a KTBG game that, honestly, it doesn't always work for me. I feel, okay, so like this, you're playing as ghosts, and there's like ghost hunters coming into your house, and you have to use different item cards to scare them away, and then when you scare them away, you take them and you get them as points. And there's some set collection symbols on the cards. I don't know, for some reason this one doesn't work for me as well as other KTBG games. Haunt the House I feel like is maybe one that people don't talk about as much. I don't know, I feel like there's maybe some unintuitive rules that kind of like we get hung up on and we can never quite remember the process of doing everything, and I don't know why. It's not like it's overly complicated. I just don't think the game flow is great. When I gave this a 6.25. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's fun to play once in a while, maybe every couple of years, but I don't love it, and it's definitely not because of the production, because the production is fine. So yeah, I don't know. Haunt the House 6.25. All right, we're getting down there. On the 29th of October, we played Scream or Die. This is a game that you've probably never heard of. I don't even know if this is a local publisher. It might have been, because we picked it up at the local convention, and I don't know that they ever produced a game after this. This is a very simple dice rolling game where it's interesting because the lead player pulls dice out of a bag, and then you're playing as a monster and you're trying to get candy or something. I don't know. The theme doesn't really make any sense. But you can, everyone else can pay screams. They're just like scream tokens to pull more dice out of the bag. And then once everyone has done that, you roll those dice, and then those dice can either give you more screams or they give you like candy or like points that you need to get. And certain colored dice are better for certain characters. The meeples are really cute. We have the deluxe version, so like there's these big chunky like monster meeples or whatever. And like, you know, like I said, certain dice are better for certain characters, and then you can also everyone gets a chance to spend their screams to re-roll dice. So it's kind of interesting in that way. It's not deep. It's definitely not like super strategic, but I do have a fun time with it. However, I rank Screamer Die a 6. All right, on the 30th of October, we played Rise of Cthulhu. This is an interesting one. It was a Kickstarter. I don't know if it ever got any sort of wide release. Interesting enough, that designer went on to design the Pandemic Cthulhu game. But anyway, this is kind of like one of those two-player lane battling type games where you're playing as the cultists, trying to be the one to summon the old ones to the location. It's an interesting game. This is another one where, like, I don't know, the rules, I always forget the rules every time we play, and it had been a number of years since we played this game. So you're just playing, like, trying to get sets or runs or the same colors of cards to get other cards into your hand. And then, like, you mix the old ones into the deck, and when they come out, whoever's winning the location that old one goes to gets the points or whatever. I don't know. I think it's fun. I have a good time when I play it, but it never comes off the shelf very often as like, we need to play this game. So, but the art is fantastic. That is one very big plus. So I give it a 7 because it's fun. It's fine. We have a good time when we play it. It's just not one I always grab for. All right, and that brings us to the 31st of October, the last day of the month. And for the 31st, we played Campy Creatures. This is another game we play every single year. It is a game where you have a hand of creatures, and every round there is some mortals, I guess they call them, that come out, and you are playing these creatures with numbers on them, where the highest one gets to choose which mortal first. Some mortals are good for you, give you positive points. Some are negative, and then that helps choose the order to draft them in. It's a pretty simple game. It's a game where you can kind of mess with the other players because the creature cards also have effects on them. Sometimes they are affected by other cards. Sometimes they cancel the effects of other players. Sometimes they allow you to give cards, the mortal cards that you've drafted, to other players. So if you get a bad one, you can give it to someone else. There is definitely a lot of messing with other players, but something about this game that I really, really enjoy, and it's one that we always make a point of to play every Halloween season. And I give Campy Creatures an 8. All right, well, that wraps it up. That was 31 games. I don't know how rapid that was, but that was 31 games in 31 days in the month of October. I don't know that we're going to do this challenge again, even with the games that we didn't play that were on our list. But it was fun, like squeezing in one every day, making sure that we played a different one. And unfortunately, we didn't get to play as many bigger spooky type games that we have in our collection because, who has the time, But yeah, well, hey, thanks for watching, and maybe I introduced you to a few new games. If I did, that'd be great. Tell me about them in the comments, or tell me about some of the games you play every spooky season. I would love to hear about it. Well, I guess that wraps it up, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.